Sunrise over the great construction site. A 50-meter Lego wall stands tall, yet unfinished. Foreman Grog is at the edge, holding a measuring tape 3 times his own size. Up on the high platform, Lila peers through her microscope at the technical joints. Look at that gap! A 2-millimeter misalignment is ruining the entire structure. Grog runs along the ridge, pressing down with all his might, but the wall doesn't budge. 10 micro-builders join in, jumping onto the wall to use their collective weight. The wall wobbles, but no click is heard. The tiny builders tumble to the ground. Grog grabs a heavy Technic mallet and slams it against the edge. Thud, thud. The recoil shakes Grog to his core, making his plastic teeth chatter like a wind-up toy. Rexy steps in, using his massive head to give the wall a gentle nudge for alignment. The wall tilts dangerously. Grog waves his arms frantically. Stop, Rexy! You'll knock it over! Lila shakes her head. She rolls up her blueprints and blows a deep, echoing horn. From the distance, the ground begins to tremble. Loose bricks dance across the floor. The plastic trees sway as a long, majestic neck emerges from the canopy. Enter STOMP, the Brontosaurus. Every footstep is a deep, low rumble. A massive foot, a giant 6x6 dish, lands on the earth. Plastic dust fills the air. Grog looks up, his helmet nearly falling off as he stares at the towering giant. Stomp lowers his head, his breath blowing Grog's sunglasses right off his face. Lila signals for Stomp to take his position at the center of the wall. Stomp moves slowly, his tail sweeping away the construction debris with ease. Rexy watches Stomp with admiration, and perhaps a little jealousy over his size. Grog climbs a tall ladder, pointing out the stubborn gap at the very top. Stomp blinks slowly. He understands. He is now a living hydraulic press. Lila marks 5 critical stress points along the 50-meter span with red paint. The micro-builder team evacuates, hiding safely behind large brick piles. Stomp turns sideways, aligning his front legs perfectly with the edge of the wall. Grog stands at the first pressure point, acting as a tiny, brave spotter. Suddenly, the site goes silent. Only the wind whistles through the plastic gaps. Stomp begins to shift his massive weight forward, preparing to lift his leg. Lila raises the purple command flag high. Everything is ready! Stomp slowly lifts his front right leg. The giant shadow of his foot swallows Grog whole. Grog looks up at the meat brick ceiling descending upon him and gulps in fear. Stomp's foot grazes the top of the wall. Tons of pressure begin to bear down. Creak! The bricks begin to groan under the sheer, immense force. Crack! 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 A series of thunderous snaps echoes through the valley. The 2x4 layers sink into place, a perfect, seamless fit. But the sudden force creates a massive lever effect at the other end of the wall. Grog, standing at the junction, feels the ground beneath him coil like a spring. Whoosh! Grog is launched into the sky with the speed of a plastic rocket. Grog's scream fades as he vanishes into the cotton clouds. Not again! Stomp looks on, confused, his long neck swiveling 180 degrees to track him. Rexy and Lila stare at the sky, mouths agape. Grog's shoe falls and hits Rexy on the head. Stomp continues his work. Second pressure point. Snap! The wall becomes a single, unified block, as solid as a mountain. Stomp moves to the third point, adding a small bounce to ensure a tight seal. Up in the air, Grog is in free fall, trying to swim back down to Earth. Lila acts fast. She directs the Brachiosaurus crane to throw out a Technic thread net. Grog hits the net, bouncing up and down like an Olympic trampoline artist. Grog lands, his eyes spinning in dizzy circles, his head reeling. Stomp finishes the final press at the end of the wall. 50 meters of perfection. Stomp pulls back his leg and licks his lips with absolute satisfaction. Grog crawls up, finds his lost shoe, and puts it back on with a sigh. Lila checks the wall with a laser tile. The margin of error is 0%. The micro-builders climb up using rollers to paint the surface a sleek, glossy gray. The wall now looks like an impenetrable fortress of plastic. Rexy tries to headbutt the wall one more time just to test its strength. The wall doesn't move an inch. Instead, Rexy bounces back, dazed and confused. Stomp lowers his head, looking at Grog as if to ask, "Did I do good?" Grog is still a bit shaky, but he gives 2 big thumbs up. Number 1! Everyone celebrates under the massive shadow of the newly finished wall. Lila adds decorative battlements along the top of the wall for a finishing touch. Grog brings out a jar of plastic grease to lubricate Stomp's joints after the heavy lifting. Stomp lies down, letting the micro-builders climb onto his back to play. Rexy finds a giant plastic bone and uses the wall as a backrest while he chews. A group of pterodactyls lands on the ridge, looking like real stone sentinels. Grog uses spare bricks to build a giant reclining chair just for Stomp. The flycam glides along the 50-meter span, revealing the majesty of the project. The joints are so tight they disappear, reflecting the sky like a gray mirror. Grog climbs onto Stomp's head, standing tall to look out over the entire valley. Lila finishes the final report and stamps it. Certified by Stomp. The sky turns into the purple and orange hues of a perfect sunset. Trans-orange torches are lit all along the fortress wall. Stomp lets out a long, deep sigh, creating a gentle evening mist. Grog presents Stomp with a necklace made of giant Technic tires. Rexy curls up at Stomp's feet, creating a scene of absolute peace. Tiny houses begin to appear beneath the protection of the Great Wall. Stomp uses his head to push a massive sign onto the very top of the ridge. The sign lights up with the words, "The End." Grog stands on the letter E, waving a final goodbye to the audience. Stomp taps his foot one last time, making the End sign hop with joy. The camera pulls back, framing the wall and the gentle giant under the moonlight. Good night, builders!